Hi. Um, I hope that I can get through this story without crying because I loved my dad so much. He meant a lot to me. Here is a picture of mom and dad on their wedding day. And I may try to post about mom too. And I'm going to make this story valuable to you. I'm going to bring it home to the hopes that we have for the future with all the knowledge that we can gain about health. And this is a picture of dad and mom when they were much older and very much affected by the American diet. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but we need a change. I need a change. And while we struggle with that, you just put the puzzle together and you figure out how to make it work for you to make dietary changes that are painless. You know, you can make it work for you, the little changes, and it doesn't have to be keto. So anyway, my story is, and I usually drink decaf, but I'm drinking straight coffee today. So pull up a chair, listen, ask questions if you'd like, and hopefully you'll see some of my other posts that might give more information about what we can do about this. So Dad's story started when he was only 47. I was away at school when I got the news that Dad was going in for surgery. There was no heart attack. He had simply gone to the doctor to get a checkup, and they did some, you know, X-rays and decided that they needed to do an angiogram. And yeah, he needed a, I think it was a triple bypass. Actually, I think it was a quadruple. Anyway, so yeah, he went through that surgery. That was in the days when they made the great big gash and used spreaders to open up the chest cavity. So he was in the hospital for many, many days, and I could not go home at that time. So anyway, um, I was with him later on when he was walking a lot. He would walk 2 miles a day to recover some of his heart function back. So anyway, when we were little at the table, mom would sometimes get up suddenly and go for the refrigerator and pull out a pitcher of what we called blue milk because maybe she had forgotten to pour dad his separate glass of milk, which was non-fat, mixed up from Carnation's, dry milk mix. So he would drink that while we drank our regular 2%. So, and that was also just going back, that was in the days where we would have a truck go by and bring our dairy to us up to our porch, sometimes into our house. And they would, give us our cottage cheese and milk and cheeses, and it was really, really lovely. But he had grown up uh, with very good cooks in the family, not just mom, but his mother was a very good cook. She would make chocolate cakes and cream sauces and gravies, and it was all very rich. And soon we were taught that fats were bad, but in reality, as we're finding out, it's the fats in combination with the carbohydrates. So the white flour with the butter in your gravy, that was the culprit, not the butter, as far as I can tell at this point in my study. But dad, he had a busy job. I mean, even when I was a baby, he would be sitting there typing as a journalist. And he told me one time that he drank up to 24 cups of coffee a day, which, you know, seemed outlandish, but my dad never ever lied to me. So I guess I just have to trust that he was telling me the truth in that case too. So as time went by, we used to always go camping, and we'd go for many a long hike, and even my brothers and he would go for very long hikes up really high mountains when I was just too little to go. But gradually Dad just got bigger and bigger, and he was on this low fat diet, and we couldn't understand it. He was always hungry, and at the table he would just go for seconds and dessert and seconds on dessert if it was offered. And uh, sometimes, somebody said to him, "Don't you think maybe you've had enough?" So, anyway, we all thought he'd had enough. I mean, good Lord, his plate was piled high, but it was bread dressing and mashed potatoes and peas and corn and all those delicious things that we eat at Thanksgiving. But you know, that was often what was served. So anyway, so like I say, as time went by, he got bigger and bigger, and pretty soon he couldn't go for as long a hikes. He and I were sitting at a table out to dinner together once, and we had met for dinner. I was already married. So there we were sitting there talking. All of a sudden, he just fixes me with this very serious but calm, you know, look on his face. And he said, I want you to take this dime, and he handed me a dime. He said, I want you to go make a call there at the entrance and call 911. He said, just go do it right now. He said, just go. So I did. I didn't know if he'd still be alive when I got back. But they came, got him, took him to the hospital, and yeah, he'd had another heart attack. So later, when we moved away out of state, which was regrettable, got the word that he was going to have a stent put in. Um, that was years after that. But like I said, whenever I was with him, we would go for a little 1 or 2 mile walk together as he struggled to get his heart function back. So, in addition to all of this, you know what happens when somebody has a heart attack, especially after they've had, surgery. Um, you have to have all these medications. You have to have blood thinners, and there's some sort of potassium drink or potassium mix that he used to get um, by prescription only. And now you can get it in an electrolyte drink anytime you want. But he had to really work at making sure he followed doctor's orders, and gradually, those pills would bring on side effects. So, and maybe you've had a relative that's been on some of these medications, and you know some of the side effects. So he had to be careful not to get, like little cuts, and eventually his legs turned purple. He used to bump his legs on the edge of the corner of the bed in the middle of the night. And, we all would do that, and nothing really bad would happen. But his whole leg would turn blue. And uh, pretty soon, both legs from below the knee to the ankle was just completely purple and blue. It was very sad. And he became diabetic. Um, but he and mom were having ice cream every night together, the end of the day. So anyway, so I was pretty far away from home, from their home. Um, it used to be that they lived in the same state we did, but my husband and I took them to live near my oldest brother. He said it was his turn to have parents near. So um, then I would fly out there once in a while, like every other year. I would go out to see my parents. So one year I had tickets ready to go in October. I usually always traveled in October before winter. And I was at work and got the phone call that dad was on the respirator, and with my permission, they would take him off life support. So, yeah, that that was the end. So I flew out to be with my mom for a month and help her with going through his belongings. And there was violin music, there was piano music, there were books. He was quite the reader. So anyway, that's Dad's story. And since I've lost my mom not too long ago as well, this is what has motivated me to make this channel for you. It's going to kind of help me because I can study. It will motivate me to study more carefully because I have to present my information carefully for you. It will also help me to stick with my plan too. So I would really like to create community and have lots of comments where you kind of, support each other. I think we need to gather together in this day and age where it's hard to meet people, support each other because we need to make changes. We need to make changes not only in our physical health, but also our social health and emotional health. And I have pretty good supportive family. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm in a new area. So I'd appreciate any comments. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for part two. Thanks for bearing with me.